Thank you. Yeah, you should be doing negative minus 5 over 2 divided by 2 in square. All right, Brad, what's negative 5 over 2 over 2?
Negative 5.
Right. I'm going to line that. Emily, what's negative 5 over 4 squared, please? 25 over 16, wonderful. As I mentioned, you guys are wonderful at completing the square. I don't give you guys enough compliments, okay? You guys are excellent, okay? I don't tell you that enough, though. I just yell at you for not doing homework more often than not. Leo, what do I do next, please? Yeah. Great. Tristan, what comes next, please?
Equals 2 x squared minus 9 over 2x plus, what is it? 25 over 2 in bracket, and then plus 1.
Yeah.
And then minus 50 over 32.
50 over 16. Because it's like 2 over 1, you're multiplying that, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just going to call that 25 over 8, if that's okay.
Yep.
Okay, can someone other than in the back row tell me where the heaven that 8 over 8 came from? Right.
You made 1, so 8 over 8, so they can have the same common denominator.
Yeah, it just speeds it up, saves you a little step there for that. Okay, now, are we okay on that? Because I said you guys are great at completing the square, but this was, like, that's a lot of good math that we've done so far. Okay, lots of fractions, all that. Are we okay on what's happening so far? Yeah, Sarah, go ahead.
You know the negative 25 over 16?
Yeah.
And the 2?
Yeah. So just multiply, right? Yeah, so it's basically, oh, sorry. You're going to multiply by 2 over 1, right? Which changes to 50 over 16, and that's 25 over 8. You either multiply the numerator or divide the denominator, right?
So I'm always in the bottom like this one.
Yeah, it's like, because, yeah, just the numerator. Okay, you guys answer? Riley, what are you next, please? Okay, good. Was that 17 over 8, I think? All right, Adam, can I get the vertex, please, of f of x?
5 over 4 and negative 7 over 8.
Yeah, are we opening upwards or downwards?
Up.
Very good. And the reason he said that, excellent, by the way, the reason he said that was, again, it's a positive 2, right? So positive 2 is opening upwards. All right, the front row, Alana, what's the vertex of, let's get the dirtiest look when I say front row. When I do, what's the vertex of f inverse going to be? Goodness.
Negative 17.
Okay. Don't worry about what way it opens in a minute when we graph, okay? Right. Okay, I'm hoping that we should be able to get to this point, no problem. That should just be straightforward. Good, that's just math. That's to this point, okay? Cool, how you feeling? Good, wonderful. Let's get this graphed up here. Now, when I walked around here, at least 5 people said they did the algebra, they didn't like graphing. Okay, I'm staring at one of them right now, okay? But make sure you graph, and for your homework, it doesn't have to be a perfect, like, you know, everything arrows and ruler and all that beautiful stuff you want to represent, okay, if you want to save time. At least the point of seeing it is so you can visualize it. If you think you can do it in your head, that's fine, but long term it doesn't lock it in there, okay? So I'm going to recommend so that when you're looking back at this, another point of having your notes is when you're getting ready to study for your final exam, you skim back through your notes. So you can say, oh yeah, I remember, yeah, the graph did this and the graph did this, okay? So there were at least, I think, 4 people in here that decided not to graph, okay? So, or graph 1 out of 10 or whatever it was, okay? So if you're one of those people, please at least do a rough sketch to make sure you can handle it, okay? All right, so here we go. I'm going to graph these now quickly. All right, so we have 5 over 4 and negative 17 over 8. Okay, I'm going to assume that everyone knows what I want for a graph because you guys are in 3U here, okay? So I'm going to just talk you through it, though. I'm going to put arrows on all 4. First, I'm going to use a ruler to make my graph. Then I'm going to put arrows on all 4 corners. And put y-axis on the top and x-axis on the right. I have to get to 17/8, which is a little bit less than -2. Now you probably can't see if you're sitting at the back, but I have dark red lines that are sort of like every square on a graph, and I have little blue lines underneath, which is half. So I counted 4 like little mini squares to count like quarters here, it's like quarters. All right, but whatever way you want to do it, as long as you can make a neat graph there. Right. Let's start with f of x. Who did I stop at there? I think I stopped at you there. How do you graph f of x then? What do we need to do?
I know graph 5 over 4.
Yeah, what's 5/4 the same as?
1.25.
Right, and what's 17/8 the same as?
Negative 2.125.
I'm going to do it in terms of everything as fractions, but if you need to do a decimal, go ahead. So 5/4, again, I have everything as in terms of quarters. Is there negative 2.125? It's going to be like this. Oops. Like this, because that's okay. We're opening upwards, so it's going to look something like this. Again, you don't need to find your roots. I didn't ask you to find the roots, I just said find the vertex and sketch. So there's f of x. All right, f inverse. So, what do you do for f inverse? Not done yet. Negative 2.125 is over here, and 1.25 is up here. That looks a lot like my point. Call an opening leftwards or rightwards, and tell me one reason you think it's that way. Pourquoi, as the French say. So I'm sorry. Why do you think they're opening rightwards? Right?
Because if you were to take like another point on this graph and then switch x and y,
Good.
it would open, right?
Yeah, like if you look at it, that's a very excellent explanation there. If you look at this root here, I'm going to use roots because I like roots, okay? That's maybe a little over 2 and 0. So if you switch it, it's going to be 0 and a little bit over 2, right? The same thing here, this is like negative, I don't know, negative 0.5 and 0. So negative 0.5 and 0 is going to be there. So it looks like my parabola has got to be like this, or something like this, right? Yeah.
What would it look like if it opened the other way?
So what would happen was this one would be opening downwards, right? So the red would open downwards. And then, so the equation would be like negative 2x squared minus 5x. If you remind me, when I do the test review, because I'm sort of going to be done with this after today, right? But on next Monday, I'm going to go through all this stuff again. So if you want to put a little message in your note, say Mr. Sadler make a negative or something, and I'll do a negative for that, and I'll show you. So it looked the very same. The only difference would be the red graph would be starting off going downwards, whoops, and then the green graph would be going left there. Yes?
And then, so another test, we say just like sketch it. Find it. Just do a step.
Just that's fine. All right, any questions about those two? Just quick way.
Did you say that it goes clockwise?
Yeah, if you want to use that, that's a non-mathematical way. Yes, it will go clockwise. Okay, that's a non-mathematical way. That's okay. That's all right. No, this is hard because it's a difficult concept, right? Like for chapter 1, I know it's I changed it up. This used to be chapter 3, like in my 3rd unit, but they switched the textbook on me. So I'm following the pattern of chapter 1 in the textbook is what I do first, chapter 2. So this now is the first year, but this isn't. This is probably like more than half. Like if you look at the difficult, this is like the course average is here. This is about here. Okay, right? And there'll be some that are above, some that are below, right? But this is relatively difficult. Does that make sense? Relatively difficult. Yes.
So if there's two like x-intercepts
Yeah.
or the fx, that
Yeah.
means there's going to be two y.
Excellent. Very good. So I don't know if you ever went to the back read that they said if there's 2 x-intercepts for f of x, there's going to be 2 y-intercepts then for f inverse, and that's another good way to look at it, right? Okay, because you're just thinking the x's. Well, the x and the y's are switched, right? So it's just going to be the opposite. But you guys love when you have a cold. You can just sit there quietly and be sick. When I have a cold, I still have to talk. That's what my problem is. I'm gonna hit pause because I want to tell a math joke that offended me this morning, and then I'll move on to the rest of this, okay? My wife was like, okay, all right, let's move on to C here. Are we okay on the main 2 points of this graph? Okay, let's do domain and range here. So the next one's domain and range, right? Okay, so the problem is, Liam, go to your phone, please. Thank you. So the problem is this, and this is if you weren't here yesterday, or Friday. This is f of x. When you turn it sideways, it's not a function. Why is this not a function?
Doesn't pass the vertical.
Right on. And if you take away if you look at any point, turn on the green, like let's say I pick here. There's an intersection twice, any way through. Okay. So how do we fix that? Luke, go ahead.
Pick a side and we stick with it.
Good. So Luke, what's your favorite side, the left side or the right side?
I'm right-handed.
Right-handed, sounds good to me. So for letter C then, what's our name of domain going to be? Owen, go ahead.
X, pick anything, so it's just X, Y, X,
Be careful, just wait. Yes, that's true for a regular parabola. But if we only want to pick one arm of it, this is where it changes it. So, yeah. Yeah, this is for f of x. So I'm doing the domain of f of x so that the inverse is a function. Okay? So you can't quite say x is anything for this one.
Greater than or equal to 5 over
Right.
4.
You're going to use greater than or less than, whichever one you want to. You said your right hand, so we'll go with the right. So we'll say x is greater than or equal to 5 over 4. X equal. What this is the x coordinate of the vertex. Okay, let's say you were left-handed. Which 1 in 9 of you are 1 in 11? Is it 1 in 9 or 1 in 11? I can't remember. Let's say you're left-handed, you want to use the left arm, what would you do? Only one person in this class is left-handed, that's ridiculous. Okay, go ahead.
X is less than or equal to
Very good.
5.
That answer's still correct, right? The only difference for that one, okay guys, ready? For that one, if I would have chosen that, all the difference was your graph would just use the right-hand side instead of the left-hand side. All right. Oh, my voice is back.
So if you took off like the left hand of the f of x when you try to take like the left.
Because I asked you to graph the entire thing, that's fine. If I would have said to you, graph this is a function, right, which I could do. If I say graph this is a function, I have to draw use one arm, right? So one arm for this, right, would be like one arm for that, right? So
So you have to use the same one.
yes. Anyways, if you don't know which one, the way to think, right, is if you're using x is less than, it'll change to y is less than. Okay, Julia, what's my range going to be here, please, for the red? Well, it's okay. She's freezing because she's the first day in the front row. There's a lot of pressure in the front row. Somebody help her here. What's the range going to be for the red function, please? What's the range going to be? Yeah, go ahead. Alex, it's you?
Oh, sorry. It's going to be greater than or equal to negative 17 over 8.
Yeah. Okay, now please remember, leave it as a fraction. Okay, even though you say, well, 17 over 8 is exactly 2.125, it won't always be. Okay, there could be decimals, so getting out of using fractions, please. All right, letter D. Can I get someone to be brave? I think that's going to be Nicole. Nicole, I want to find the inverse of f of x. What version of f of x should I use to start with? Do you recall? If you don't, that's okay. Somebody help her. What version should we use? Vertex form. We have to. That's why we found it. So I'm going to start with, and I'm going to put a star beside here. So I'm going to say use vertex form. So it's going to be f of x in that. Hello.
Hey, Mr. Sadler,
How are you?
doing?
I'm wonderful. I'm
How's
going to
everyone?
pause here. Text form. Here, then we'll go. So f of x is going to be 2. What was it? The original function? 2 bracket I can't remember, x minus 5 over 4 squared
Minus 18 over 7.
minus 17 over 8. All right. Carissa, you're up. In order to find an inverse, what do you do to find the equation of the inverse? Do you recall? To switch the y and x. Very good. Carissa, there still is one problem. I don't have a y in this equation. What do I do? Very good. So we start with y equals 2 bracket x minus 5 over 4 squared minus 17 over 8. And then you're exactly right, switch the x and the y. Wonderful, tremendous, excellent. Okay, Adria, what do I do to solve for y, please? What's the next step? No? Somebody help her. Somebody help her, please? Go ahead.
And put them minus 17 over 8 with x, so it's x plus 17
Great. Great. Owen, what comes next, please?
So you would have to I'm not sure which one is right, but either sub the 2 in the brackets or you would put another y minus 5.
Neither of them was right, unfortunately. Okay, now hold on, just wait. I'm sorry that came out wrong. I meant to say, I'm sorry it's incorrect. Let's work together to find the correct solution. Okay, because what we do, if you FOIL this out, you're going to end up with y squared and y, and that's going to be difficult to solve, right? Because you just want to isolate y. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide by 2. Because I'm going to want to just make it as simple as I can on the right-hand side. Okay. All right, Austin, do you recall what to do next?
Square root.
Square root, good. So it's going to be plus or minus square root x plus 17 over 8 all over 2 equals y minus 5 over 4. Yeah, question or answer?
So like, if we just divide the 2 by way and do like x over 2 plus 17 over 16.
That's fine. Yeah, that's good. Same thing.
I have a question.
Yeah.
In the back of our book,
Yep.
it puts the other variable in front of the plus minus the square root of.
One more time, sir.
Like, we had a question, I don't know,
Yeah.
like this in the book, but the answer in the book would be like 5 over 4
Yeah,
plus
and that's what we're finishing. I know there's still one more step here. So it'd be f inverse x is 5 over 4 plus or minus the square root of x plus 17 over 8 whole. And that's just algebra. That's just algebra. Just going to be algebra. Okay, I'm going to stop the video because it's 18 minutes long. Okay, then we'll get started on today's lesson. I'm going to go through 4 and 16 here quickly to make sure it's good. What was the difficulty with 4? Because 4 should be the scary one. 16 I can see being frightening. There must have been some wording or something. I'll maybe do 4D and then we'll